Good day. Thank you very much for joining us for Bettery Labs, doing it better together. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest with us, a veteran in the financial planning industry, Mr. Stuart Shee. He's a senior director of the financial services industry and also an international speaker and a performance coach. Now, Stuart Shee is, as I said, a veteran in the financial planning industry, and he has been in many platforms, a speaker in many or numerous platforms, including the prestigious $1 Million Roundtable. Now, with his rich experience and wisdom, Stuart has been a performance coach, making an impact to many people out there. So do join us, and we're going to begin soon. So right now, let me bring on Stuart. Hello, Stuart.
Hello, Shati. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Stuart. Thank you so much for joining us for our live chat, amidst your busy schedule. And I've been seeing that you are busy with all your webinars and so many things going on Facebook. So, Stuart, how are you?
Good. It's good to see you on live, and then probably for people that I don't see, but then I think you are looking at us. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. So for those of you, again, Stuart is actually a senior director with 24 years and 1 month of experience in the financial services. In fact, he's a veteran and a big inspiration to a lot of the junior guys out in the industry, including myself. And he's also an international speaker and performance coach. So, Stuart, maybe you can actually, have a brief introduction about yourself, and the journey behind your current success.
Okay. First, I would like to introduce myself as a father, as a husband, my lovely wife Nancy, and I have 2 kids, Myra and Egan. I joined the life insurance business back in 1996 after I graduated from NUS. It was a tough decision. I would say almost nobody supported my decision. I say almost because there were 2 people who kind of like, yeah, it's good. I think you should go into this business. One of them is my very good friend. She's still my client, very good friend and client. The other one is my late uncle, my father's Sean brother, who was a doctor. And when I told everybody, including my family members, nobody was supportive of it. Then my uncle, who he's a doctor who treated the whole family, and he was telling me from what he knows of me, I should do well in this business. And I can tell you that moment, I burst into tears because it's like everyone was against it. And then this uncle said, with your character, you do well in life insurance. I was like, why? And he was, because he said, because you're very personal. You're a very personal person. You're very quiet. So people think because you're very quiet, especially like my parents, they think that I cannot make it because I was too quiet. But my uncle saw something else. He said, because you're quiet, you're always listening, and you speak from your heart. So these are some of the qualities that he looked for in a life insurance practitioner. So with his words of encouragement, and one the best friend that I have, she was like, it's good. At least you can take care of my finances. I don't have to bother to think about it from now on. So these were the 2. That was 24 years ago. It was tough. 24 years ago, the awareness of life insurance and all kinds of insurance were not that high. So we went through a tough times, and before I knew it, 1997 came with the financial crisis. People losing their jobs, then went to a deep recession. But then that was the year I first made my first $1 Million Roundtable qualifications against a lot of people's expectation of me. They were thinking that I couldn't make it. But then I prove it otherwise. Yeah. Then after a few years into sales, I ventured into management, and I founded Advisors in Sync. It's an agency of excellence driven by leaders dedicated to empowering lives. This is our vision statement. There are a few words inside there that has very much reflective of me. So we are in the midst of transforming the agency. So from personality driven, which is like the statement that I've made, is very me, to the next level. So and a lot of people are asking me like, why is it in 1997 when there's a crisis, I became the top rookie, and then there were other crises. Every time there's a crisis, my life transformed to the other way around rather than go downwards. So I became a director in 2007, and that was when uh, we are also experiencing another difficulties, and then came the Lehman Brothers, and then after the Lehman Brothers, I became a senior director. So, everyone was like, "Hey, how come? When everyone is going down, you're going up." Uh, yeah, maybe we can move on to talk about it
Yeah.
later.
So,
Yeah.
Stuart, one good thing is that right now we are also talking at midst of a crisis. So, right now the viewers will be expecting a big thing happening for you this year. Because it's records or history has shown that every time there's a crisis, you shine. Right. Stuart, just a question. You talked about the $1 million round table. And I believe you're not just a qualifier way back then, but I think you have a lot of involvement. Now, for those viewers who do not know what's a $1 million roundtable, it's actually $1 million roundtable is actually a conference to commemorate all the top performing financial planners. And Stuart has been a life member. Stuart, yeah,
Yes.
maybe you
Yes.
can talk about your involvement because I think it's the top 5% of financial planners in the whole world, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Okay. It has been normally people say it's a top 5, top 6%, but actually in statistics, if we take in every single registered financial practitioners in the world, it is actually top 1%. Taking into account the vast numbers in China, India, and Indonesia. These are the three emerging markets. If not, they are almost there already. They form the big chunk of numbers. But this top 5% has been traditionally spoken about, so we still talk about the top 5%. My involvement in it was very much in being a qualifier. I didn't miss a single meeting. I will go so it is very much like every June you will see me in US. So much so that even when my first daughter was born, I went for the meeting, but that was the shortest meeting I've been. So touchdown next morning meeting. After meeting, I brought my luggage to the meeting conference, and then straight after that fly back home. So, and people will say you're crazy. Nobody flies to US that way unless you're on a so-called business trip, paid trip, whatever. No, I pay to go. I paid for the conference. But that's what I want to do. But then it has escalated. So in 2003, uh, by chance, uh, I was drawn into a committee, and then before I know it seriously, it was the things they were happening so fast. So in 2003, I took over as I went for my first meeting as the acting zone chair for Southeast Asia. Then in 2004, officially became the zone chair, and then I served for 2 years, and then there were many changes during that time. That was the time of changes in MDRT history, when MDRT was trying to segregate and target marketing and that kind of things. And I was fortunate to be representing not just Southeast Asia but Asia, because at the time when China was emerging, 2002 was when China started open up for insurance. When China was emerging, I was kind of fortunate because I speak both languages, English and Chinese. So I became a very like a middle person between the East and the West. At the time, MDRT kind of segregated the East as just China being the East, and then
Okay.
the rest of the world. So there were times that I was acting as a zone chair, as well as a translator, interpreter, and mediator, and whatever you call it. So it was quite a challenging time at it. Challenging times really. And in 2000, end of 2007, uh, MDRT adopted a new kind of measurement, a yardstick, using the PPP, purchasing power parity, and that was when I started. If you allow me to be candid, I started a crusade because I felt that some of the countries were not dealt with fairly, especially Singapore. So yeah, I started a movement, gathering different people, CEOs of companies, and all to speak to MDRT. It took about 1.5 to 2 years, and in 2009, when they first announced in 2008 November the new definition, because I got it before that. So it took me quite a while, not just me, there are quite a number of people. I've spoken to some of the people that fought to get to that. There was a times. So in 2009, sometime in midst of 2009, they took down the whole system and then replaced it with something else. So that was one of those, I think that was the most involved times. And then so 2008, 2009, I was involved in the task force to shape MDRT for the future 10 years plan. And I'm so glad to see some of our plans that are fully taken place over the last 10 years. So this is the year of new. So whatever we planned for the 10 years plan in 2009 finished in 2019. Yeah.
Yeah. And Stuart, thank you so much on behalf of all the planners out there, for being there to start the crusade, to shape the MDRT of what it is today for us. Thank you so much. I think these are things I personally feel that as the leaders of industry, you just don't do it for yourself, not for the clients, but also for the industry itself, making a difference to make sure everybody is safe. Before we move on, Stuart, I just like to say hi to some of
Yeah.
the viewers who had said hi. So Stuart, we have Jackie who said hi to you, and then hi
Hello.
Jackie, thank you so much. We have Khalil. Hi Khalil, thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, Dana, hi, thank you so much. And as well as we have many others. Now, there's actually a question for you, but I think I'll hold the question after going to this part of it, which I always wanted to ask you, which is, of course, okay, so Stuart, apart from being a leader and a financial advisor for over 24 years, what was your inspiration? Because you are also an international speaker and a performance coach. So what inspired you to be one? I know that you have been to many prestigious platforms, MDRT platforms and many more. So what inspired you?
I think is one of the values that I hold very dearly in my heart. Here I want to mention this is something that I imparted from my dad. It's a very, very simple. My dad is someone who traveled from China to Singapore back in the early days. He always repeat this story. When I was 13, I came here when I was 13. So for the Chinese, we actually add 1 year. So he was only 12 when he came here all alone by himself. And I don't just hear it from him, but I always see that he will always help people. When someone is in need of help, he will help. And I will ask him sometimes because there were times that we didn't have enough. And he will always tell me, and this is what I always impart to my kids as well. When someone is in need of help, and if you can help, if you cannot, stay out of the way. Don't 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 be in the way when someone is trying to help. Yeah. So when he said when you can help, So helping someone is has always been in my blood. That's why I joined this business as well. Um, then it has escalated. So in 2009, after I kind of completed the MDRT task force, end of 2009, I still remember it was November. I was on the way back from Chicago, and I was stuck because the internal flight. So I missed one of the flights, and I couldn't catch the next flight. I was stuck in the airport. They put me in the airport hotel, and one of the committee members, he actually gave me this yellow pad. He said, while you're in the flight, you can write. So I was writing quite a bit of things there, and I remember writing this personal mission statement. I was, in fact, that time in November, I was struggling for my MDRT in 2009. I was doing too much. I was doing too much things. Um, the yellow pad was given to me because he made me promise him that I will still complete my MDRT. I was 90% away. I didn't do 90%. I was 90% away on the 15th of November.
Wow.
And he was like, no, you got to complete this. And he's handed me a yellow pad. It's very American. It's yellow pad. It's a foolscap paper. So write down the names, and I wrote the names of the people I want to talk to and stuff. Then, but when inspiration came in, I wrote a personal mission statement there and say, I want to inspire, or I want to have a positive impact, whether directly or indirectly, to 100,000 people every year. When I wrote that down, right, I sent a shiver, a cold, tingling feeling back my spine. I was like, how am I going to do that? I've been speaking, but in probably at the time, my biggest crowd was just 5,000. That was it. And how am I going to do 100,000? But then, as I wrote it down, I knew I was going to do it. Um, Doing my math, so even if there's 5,000 people who came to listen, I think each of them would take. If I'm good enough, each of them would take my idea to impact on 10 people each, averagely. Yeah, just like when I spoke to you, I'm sure you took my idea and spoke to at least 10 people.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
yeah, so I have a direct impact on my people. So I have 50 planners. If the direct ones will have about 100 averagely each year. So 50 planners will be easily 5,000. The 95,000, I just need to speak to good 9,005. That was my idea at that time. So that it started with that, and then of course it evolved, and then I came up with a story, which became the core value of my agency. It's called a Great Acon. So I did this last on Sunday, just 2 days ago. Um, Saturday, so 3 days ago. So um, the evolvement came when I heard a speaker say, when you cut an apple open, you can count how many seeds are there, but when you plant that seed, you cannot count how many apples that apple tree can produce. So I took that story and I evolved it to, if you grab a handful of acorns, because acorns as seed, it represents new beginning, unlimited potential, and new growth. So I pick acorns, right? So if you pick a handful of acorns, you throw it on a table, you can always count how many acorns are there. But if you look into every single acorn, there's a, there is a potential great oak tree. And if
Yes.
you put your time, effort, energy, and even money to nurture that little acorn, you can grow into a great oak tree, and you can never count how many acorns that great oak tree can produce. And if you do it properly, that one acorn can produce a whole forest of oak trees. So to me, when I wrote that down, again, it sent chills down my spine, because I am looking for acorns all the time now, and telling them how much potential they have, because some people, they are lacking of self-image, self-esteem issues, and I will be there talking to them. seriously, now that I go to MDRT, every now and then people will come to me, take photos, hug me. Some really give me a kiss, or not in the lips, but then and thank you for inspiring them. And pardon me, I don't remember them, but then that's the feeling that I think that's what I'm looking for. I want people to be able to grow, because I grow because of some people. They are more than willing to help me when I ask for help. So I want to help other people. I want to grow other people as well. So the legacy will carry on with all the small acorns becoming great oak tree. So nobody is a small acorn. Everyone is a great acorn.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think to think that it all started from a yellow pet, where we decided, I used to have my dad used to tell me that uh, the faintest ink is more mightier than the sharpest sword. So in fact, sometimes when we write down our goals, no matter how big and audacious is it, the how is always something that will make us, like what you say, shiver,
Yeah.
thinking about how we're going to do it. But it is the clear why and the purpose of why you want to do it. And that's fantastic. And apart from just being an inspirational speaker and making so much impact to people, I also bought your book. Maybe you want to talk about your book, Stuart.
Yeah, if you all don't mind, I'll just show off my book.
Yes,
This
please.
is my first book. Yeah, this book, the title is Work of Heart. When I first wrote this book, it was tough writing a book, because there's so much ideas that I want to put into a book. So when I finally spoken to a few so-called ghostwriters, this person who wrote this book with me, uh, she told me the reason why I couldn't write one single book is because there are too many books in my head, and I need to narrow down to just one first. And then I was like, just write the Great Acorn. That's something that have been speaking about and stuff. We spent the whole day talking about the Great Acorn, and then suddenly she say, "Why don't you write the second book first, which is this? This by right is the second book." And she say, probably if people just read the Great Acorn, they might misunderstand me. But when they read this particular book, people will understand me a little bit better. So that's why this book is born first. Inside the book is a bit of my biography. I've written a lot about my father, how I grew up, how I met my wife at 17 going 18, the whole journey. And then, of course, we have a bonus chapter to have about 20 ideas on how we can better ourselves in this financial business. Of course, um, there's also one particular chapter. If you see this photo, it is this particular chapter. Let me move a bit and see. Okay, this particular chapter is about it's a beneficiary of my own planning. So chapter 5 is all about the when I first wrote, when this book was completed in 2019, last year, exactly 1 year ago. I went through about 20 odd surgeries over the last 5 years. I had my last one in December 2019, so that's the 23rd one. Yeah, and then how I have, again, I didn't just survive, I thrived through all this. It was tough, and those who are following my Facebook, I'm back into running. Uh, People ask me, why are you running? Even my doctor was like, are you crazy? You're running too much and that kind of things. And I told my doctor, I said, as long as my heart doesn't give me issues, I will continue to run. Of course, it didn't start off with the distance that I clock now. With my heart condition, my very first run was 200 meters. I have to be frank. It was just 200 meters, and I gave up. I was like, what is going on in my body? Everywhere is painful. I can't even breathe. 200 meters. I haven't even left my gate. And gave up. That was my first run. But I came back and said, no, I want to do this. Again, back to the Great Acorn, I want to show people that it is possible. So I get very encouraged when people like my Facebook page. I wish there are more likes because I want to see if people, it's not for my sake. I just want to see if people are following, because I do get, pardon me, strangers from other countries who send me personal private message and say, you're such an inspiration. I'm running too. And I get someone who say, I have 4 surgeries to my knees and I'm running too. And I say, I have 23 surgeries, 8 to my heart, and I'm running too. And he was like, what? He didn't know that. So it's yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a journey. And all the proceeds of the books will go to charity. There are 4 charities that I've adopted, and all of them are dealing with children with chronic diseases, or they are born genetically with a weak heart or something. I have a soft spot for underprivileged children. So I've been doing that for the longest time I can think of. Just that with this book, it has elevated to a next level. I can yeah, we're gonna file income tax. When I saw, wow, that's quite a lot of money that I've donated. I'm quite pleased with myself. Yeah.
In fact, Stuart, I myself, I've left a lot of messages on the Facebook. Whenever I see you running, I first saw your initial start of the runs, and I'll be thinking, I remember you were telling me in December you went for surgery, and then next thing I know, within 1 month plus, I still remember the first one where you took a picture of a tree, and
Yes.
and then you're running and everything, and then I was like, I was like thinking, you see, sometimes all of us would like to, there are many people out there who talks about motivation and so on, but I think the key is actually to be a role model, to do it, to inspire people, to say that, look, if I can do it. Sometimes I love to run, and when I run, I ask myself, especially days when I'm thinking maybe today I feel tired, I'm thinking, if Stuart can do, if he runs, and if he have will to run, and I've talked to so many people who told me that they got no time, and I tell them, look, time is never an essence, and there are people out there who have all the reasons they want to say why they can't do it, and they are doing it. So I think in that I'm one personal benefactor, Stuart, from your Facebook post. Every time I see you run, for the viewers out there, just for information, I was just having this chat with Stuart just before we started the live. He just did 12 kilometers run the last 2 days. And can you imagine? He's talking about 200 meters and he was breathless, but right now he runs at 12 kilometers. And I think that is something very inspirational. So I think go and follow his Facebook post, because he runs a lot. And every time he runs, he doesn't have to say anything. You just look at the distance and that's it. The first question I ask myself, what am I doing? So, thanks, Stuart. I mean, the key thing is always about consistently inspiring people with all your actions, whether it's your book, going up there talking, but it's still from your heart. So I do agree that the book itself, says a lot, because I think, and that's the reason why I personally wanted it to be here, because I think you are a person who always speaks from your heart, wanting to make a difference to people. I just would like to address a question that's for you. But before that, just say hi to some of those who have joined us. To Colbert, Oi, you really admire your dad, to Stuart, for yourself. And then we have Wilma, who say, hello, Stuart.
Hello, Wilma.
And we have a question from Iskandar.
Yes.
Iskandar Nur Putra. Stuart, what is your advice to the financial advisors who want to adopt to new norms? Yeah.
Okay, let me share. I saw this question just now. While I was answering other questions, I want to address this question. I'll use my own example first. Okay, so we had our first lockdown on the 7th of April for Singapore. We call it CB, circuit breaker. My first initial reaction was, finally I can have a good break after so many years. Of course, the first few days was a bit anxious for me. After 24 years of going to work almost every day, I suddenly find myself not going to work. So for the first few days, I was experiencing the anxiety of a retired person. But then after that, I kind of like, hey, why don't I give myself a break and focus a bit on my running, focus a bit on my sleep. I've not been sleeping very well. Focus on my health and stuff like that. But before I know it, almost a month passed, and then and I see everything slowing down, including myself. And it happened like, yeah, beginning of May. I look at it, it's like something is not right. Um, of course, I have done enough to retire. Okay, but then there's still so much music in me that I think, no, I'm not going to just do that. So I started gathering my people again, and I do apologize to them. And I think I finally, my last final apology was yesterday when I realized something, which I am going to read it out to some of you later about this new norm. Just yesterday. So today is very apt. When I read it out to you, when I got it only yesterday, means we are in a movement of doing it now. Not that it's already been done. No. But when it comes to the new norm, I just want to say something very important in terms of principles. New doesn't mean it's better. Old doesn't mean it's not good enough. Okay, so right now, this is the time when we look at some of the old stuff, in a way, old stuff, not obsolete, but old stuff that we have used, the methods, and then how we can adapt the new ones in. So, um, like I say, I just discovered this yesterday by reading something. Every day I have probably close to 100 emails from different organizations on inspiration, on financial planning and stuff. So one of them caught my eyes is about the difference between prospecting and marketing. So the new norm, okay, what old methods like me 24 years ago, there were almost no marketing, almost. It was pure prospecting, just prospecting. Okay, then it moves to some form of marketing. Then Facebook, LinkedIn, social media came out. So some of us do quite a bit of marketing, and prospecting was still the bloodline. But right now, I think there will be much more effort, much more energy, and even money and time to be involved more into marketing and slightly lesser prospecting. But this is the danger right now. This is what I see from some people. Too much marketing. There's too much marketing going around. When you have all marketing and no prospecting, right, you will get too many missed opportunities. Okay, this already happened before. So there are some people who are marketing Facebook and whatever, and they don't do prospecting. Then I came along and, hello, how are you? And then the person say, hey, do you see this particular article or post by someone in the Facebook? It's very good. Do you do it as well? I say, yes, I do. And I got the opportunity. So too much marketing and no prospecting, you get missed opportunities like this. But if it's all prospecting and no marketing, especially now, uh, you'll be very frustrated and burnt out because first, right now, um, the coal market is we really need to reinvent ourselves. If not, the coal market is almost dying. Okay, for me, I'm proud and fortunate to tell people I've never done coal market. I've always been doing warm and prospecting through referrals and COIs. But again, like yesterday, I gathered my team and I say, okay, let's go into marketing. And everyone was like, coming from a marketeer, because I'm a business grad with marketing. I told them, but I don't know how to market. Let's brainstorm and ask all of them for ideas. And they were saying this, and then all of them suddenly say, but we need money for this. I said, don't think about money first. Just tell me what are the things to do. You don't have deep pocket, I have. Let's do something. So it's just one day. today we are doing things, and I'm very excited. The marketing effort is moving because, so what's the new norm? A little bit more marketing, but remember, I see people doing too much marketing. I have some young planners in my agency. Boss, let's do this. Let's content building, this. But then too much marketing. You're not. So I say, why don't you just send this content to 100 people and then call the 100 people, and not wait for the 100 people to come, because it's not going to happen. In marketing, in financial planning or financial services, they are not going to come to you because you have marketed yourself well. It's just that when you have marketed yourself well, when you do prospecting, it is easier. So for those who don't do marketing at all and you continue to prospect, it is going to be tougher.
Yeah.
That's the message I want to pass across. Have I been doing it? I'm 2 days old in whatever I just said, but I'm excited. I'm really excited about this. Yeah, because it's like, whoa, it's another new thing. It's like I suddenly feel I was very tired yesterday when I discovered it, but today I woke up thinking that I'm reborn in this business again. I'm gonna do this. There's so much things to do. Yeah.
And in fact, Stuart, I think I've personally also experienced, the importance of marketing, like what you say. It is to create the visibility, to put you out there. But I think the key essence is actually prospecting, to reach out to our potential prospects, to get them to know, because our business is about serving people, to meet people, to be there. To make a difference and an impact to them. So I think the prospecting portion to engage them is still very important. So I think when these two components work hand in hand, I think then it becomes a powerful way of working towards the new norm. I
Yes.
think definitely quite relevant to the what you have said. There's actually another question on how do you keep yourself relevant to your organization and client amidst all the changes and crises, which you just said. But is there anything else you do to actually engage your clients, your existing clients, at this point of time?
Um, we have to. Okay, right. We are in a transition now, so probably this is the last week, and some are going back to work and stuff. I just talk about the last 2 months, and then probably next week is another new thing altogether. So at least for April, most people are working from home. If not, everyone is working from home. Suddenly you realize that people are responding to your WhatsApp or your text or your whatever, reach out to them quite instantaneously. In the past, you send 10 texts and one or two will reply immediately, and then some will reply at night and stuff because they're so busy. Some forgotten, you have to remind them. But now it's like every text you send, they will come back to you because they nothing to do at home, so they will text with you, and then you start to be able to chat with some of your clients whom you may not have a chance to chat unless you are meeting up with them. So if you have not been doing that for the past 2 months, there's a little bit of bad news, but the good news is it's never too late to start. Always, it's just always too soon to give up only. Okay, so start doing something, engage them in whatever ways you want. Uh, don't send things like, would you want to do a review? Like, that's not the right way to send a message now. How are you doing? Don't belittle this. How are you? Okay, just try sending 10 how are you, just the name followed by how are you doing, and then leave it and then see what's the reaction. You will get response, and some of them are really appreciative. For all you know, seriously, for all you know, that person is feeling so depressed that day, not being able to get out of the house. The the spouse suddenly right now dealing with the spouse. Okay, that's one big issue. You used to have escapes because you can get to the office, or you can, if you really feel very bored at home, you can just tell your spouse and say, I'm going for a drink with a friend or something, and there you go. but right now it's like 24 hours you're facing. So either the relationship gets really solid now, or the relationship gets really sour now. It gets both ends. So for all you know, the person that receives your "how are you doing" and is feeling so frustrated, and then your "how are you" came and he's like, just reply, I'm okay. Then you follow up with another, and then for all you know, you are engaged in a long and meaningful conversation with someone who is really in need of someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the time.
And sometimes it's those simple messages like "How are you?" that makes a lot of difference to the people out there. It means like what you were previously saying. It means all the marketing, and means all those things about would you like a review and everything. When you ask something more personal, where you care about someone, you are interested in their well-being. I think that calls for a very positive uh, feel from the people when we reach out to them. And so we talked about the new norm earlier, and then thanks Stuart for also sharing about what we can do now. Your views on the way ahead. I mean, we have about another one more week before we know that it will never be the same. Definitely, the industry and the financial planning industry landscape will never be the same. There will be changes. But what are the key changes that you foresee, ahead in our financial planning industry?
Like I mentioned before, the very first key will be the efforts uh, the energy, the time, and money being spent in marketing. So you will see financial capital shifting to uh, different businesses that used to be probably struggling for a while. Um, they suddenly became a very key thing. Like in the past, we have people who are designing small little things, Canva, or they're struggling with jobs, and people are not willing to pay them too much. Probably one design, just $10-$20. It's like they are not so essential. Then suddenly now they are in demand. So these are the people. The financial capital is shifting towards this industry, and there will be more working from home. So which means don't belittle this Zoom, WebEx, or whatever you have type of meetings. The non-face to face is definitely here to stay. I can just share with you some experience from the Chinese, because the Chinese has gone through this long time ago, not long time ago, just a couple of months ago, and they have gone back to norm now, in a way. But their new norms will be really not face to face, is more than the face to face. And if the people who hold on to tradition to say it's only face to face, we are high touch and stuff. Digitalization doesn't mean you take away the high touch. Okay, it's just that you, it's just like people say professional. What does it mean by professional? It is really very subjective. So when it comes to high touch as well, it's very subjective. To me, I feel if we do everything from our heart, people can feel it. So whether is it non face to face or face to face, but going forward, I think non face to face is going to take a very important uh, aspect of our financial planning, financial services industry. When I say that, it means either we get our clients and our prospects to get used to it, or we just get phased out. Lah. It's as simple as that. Some people will just hold on to tradition. So yeah, we still get some traditional clients who will still want face to face, but then we are moving into the new norms. The non face to face, I feel, is something that is be better, but get used to it. Yeah. So it's just like when we jump into a river, if you have a choice to swim upstream and downstream, most people will say I'll swim downstream. Easy. Um, but I feel that there will be some people, the minorities, will swim upstream first, knowing that swimming upstream, the benefits will be building our muscles. We will be heads on with some of the obstacles and stuff like that. And when it's time to swim with the downstream, with our muscles, we may catch up. If not, we may even overtake those people who initially did the downstream. So this is one of the principles. So when I first uh, joined the business, uh, I only did whole life plans and critical illnesses. And then when hospitalization came in, hospitalization and accident plans. So there were times when investment link and investment policies were way ahead of. It was a hot thing at the time because of CPF investments. I'm talking about investment, single premiums, and wealth accumulation type products at that time. So that was the time I built my agency. I insisted on protection. So I was being laughed at. People say I was obstinate. I was so stubborn and stuff. I knew I was swimming upstream at the time. So my first few recruits at that time, they're still around. We just talked about this yesterday. It's the mindset that we have set long time ago, the values that we hold. So protection is the key for us. And then once we've done the protection, the rest we can do. Not the other way around. It's not. So wealth protection is the main key that we focus on. Yeah. Yeah. Even with the new changes come in, as long as your values are right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are 2 points that I took away, which was in line with our conversation as well. It's actually what you covered, the mindset, the mindset, and to be willing to swim upstream, to build yourself up. So that when you are ready to go downstream, you realize that you will be much faster, more capable to catch up with your competitors or the rest who started up early. So I think that is something very important, especially for someone like yourself, Stuart, who have went through the past crisis and have came out very strongly. I think this is one key definite mindset that I think advisors in today's current COVID-19 situation must take note of. And the other thing that I also realized and took note was actually the point when you were saying, Stuart, how important is it to unlearn? Not to love your traditional way of doing things. Be very clear of your values. Be very clear what you want, but be willing to unlearn what you have been doing and to relearn. I think that is where the continuation or the continuity to be ability to adopt and transform is important. Now, on this part, Stuart, I just have another question that I want to. I think I will definitely benefit from this as well. Now we are talking about unlearning and relearning. Now, what do you suggest? Have you been, over your 24 years where you came to a situation where there were some things like, today itself, we are talking about so many digital platforms, to be the ability to learn. What will you advise people who finds it very difficult to say that, hey, look, I find it very difficult to learn all these digital platforms. I've never been doing it. Is there any specific advice for those people? How they can go about learning and so on.
I think a lot of us are focused on the how. Let's realign ourselves and focus on the why. There are a few things I talk about if you have caught it. It's never too late to start. It's always just too early to quit. One of the mindsets that's very important is we think like employer and we work like employee. So we have to start thinking like employer. And what does an employer do? And remember, choices are always choices until a decision is made. And once you have made the decisions, all the choices are gone because you have made the decision. And once the decision is made, remember you have also given up your rights to complain and lament because you are the one who made the choice, the decision. So first, I think we have to make a decision and commit to the decision. And commitment to a lot of people, a lot of people's commitment is like I kind of wanted this. I could have, and should have. Commitment, I view it as, especially for you, being a ranger, Commitment is like jumping off an airplane with a parachute. You cannot jump off and say, wait, then you rewind, right? That's only in cartoons, right? You jump off and you jump off. This is a commitment. It's committed. Okay, I did a speech in Thailand before, and I said this. I jump off the stage. Everyone was shocked, and I said, "Is there a way that I can, jump halfway and then you reverse and let me go up?" No, commitment is jump. That's what I said. That's what I mean by commitment. So make a decision. If you want to, if you just want to survive in this business, then hold on to the old methods lah. If you want to move forward and search forward, it's just like when first investment link was being introduced, there was so much resistance, so much. Then when ElderShield was launched, so much resistance, so much resistance. I was just thinking, was I one of those in resistance? Yes, I was, because I'm also human being. So there's some that didn't, go along with my values very much. I will resist. But then when I look at it, it's like, come on, what's the point, right? But I'm definitely not like the first mover for most things. In fact, I'm more of like an observer and see what we can do. It's just like I can tell you, yesterday was like, yes, we're gonna do this together. Decision was made. Okay, marketing and what have you. And so let's see. I mean, I said this before. The two places uh, that we don't stay in, two other places. Okay, one is the regrets of the past. The other one is fear of the future. Um, these are the two. Okay, so we only have the present. Okay, and the presence. Okay, our presence is needed. Seize the moment. Okay, so this is the time. Every moment is a moment that we can change. Okay, I'm just gonna. I listen to Jim Rohn a lot. I urge some of you to, most of you, if you can, go and listen to Jim Rohn a little bit. So there's one thing that he talked about. We face the direction. Um, we face the direction that we want, and then we will go to the direction that we have, and we face the direction that we have also, right? We cannot change our destination overnight one, no. Seriously. 5 years from now, you'll be exactly the same person you are, except for a few decisions and stuff. I talk about this on Saturday. But listen to this very carefully. We cannot change our destination overnight, but we can change our direction overnight. And because we change our direction overnight, right, our destination is changed. Okay.
Yes.
So most of us will be like, oh, I'm so old, I'm too this, I'm like me, I always tell people I'm a tech idiot. And last night I worked on my PowerPoint and downloading this and that until 2 a.m. And I was looking at this morning, I give us like, you can do it also. It's like I was so afraid of computers and stuff. I did until 2 a.m. in this morning. Yes, I gave myself a pet, but I need to show it to experts. Then experts, if they give me, then it's good. But then at first, at least I tried until 2 a.m. I was like figuring how to delete this and make this into funny diagrams. I was this morning when I look at my own, it's like, oh, not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So next test is to show to people who can do it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Just a
And
month ago, asking me to go on Facebook Live is a no to me. Now I'm doing Facebook Live. This is the fourth time.
and I think it's the small little processes, the small little successes that actually keeps us going. I once and again, read this quote during my ranger days that if you are afraid of failures, then you will never grow. Growth just stops because you will stay still, fearing to fail. So I think the key thing is fail. It's okay to fail, but important thing is learn from your failures and improve. It's not about being successful immediately, but it is about the consistent improvements as you go on and getting out of the comfort zone. I think this is something. When I first started live chat as well, I had a lot of comments like what you said, Stuart. I don't know. I choose to say that I swam upstream because a lot of them were saying you should be focusing on other things. Why are you doing live chat? This is not your bread and butter. But I told them that, look, but by doing this, I'm making a lot of impact to people. And when I follow up with these people, they were happy, you know, they were happy to chat with me, and you know, I can say it's more of like prospecting, you know, I get to talk to them and everything. And it happened to be that people were willing to sit down and have a conversation with me online. And many things happen in terms of my financial planning industry, in terms of other businesses. And so I realized sometimes it's about just getting out of the comfort zone and do things, especially like what you said, Stuart, you know, the willingness to swim upstream when everybody else will be following, you know, the direction that the rest will follow. Right, Stuart. Well, we are coming towards the end of our live chat, but I got one more question for you. Is what is your advice for advisors on how and where to start to enhance their capabilities and processes?
I first I have to applaud you all that you are advisors in this age. Seriously, 24 years ago, there was no. I only had my first email account in 1997. Okay, and that was pacific.net.sg.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can't remember when did Google start, but we started with Yahoo, and then Google, and then seriously, right now I think uh, I go around the world speaking, and when they ask me who's your mentor, I say my mentor is Google. I just Google every day and looking for new. Like today, I just went for a drive. First to measure the new route that I discovered yesterday, 12 kilometers. I drove and said, how come my driving and my running, there is a discrepancy, but because we are running inside, so we do clock a little bit more. So as I was driving, and then after I went to different highways. This is one of the things that I do for distress. And then I will play YouTube, and then I will listen, and then I caught something. So are you? So this is the one sentence, just that one whole hour of driving and loitering around. I got just one sentence, and I feel that it's good enough. What's the sentence? Are you problem solving, or are you purpose seeking? So that sets me thinking. I have to quickly find a place, first exit, go under a big tree, and then replay it again just to make sure I record it down. Are you problem solving, or are you purpose seeking? So is there a right answer to the question? No, but it really got me thinking. Are we sitting down here to talk about the problem and solving it, or are we moving towards our purpose? So what is it? Do I have an answer now? No, but it really sets me thinking, right? So this is some of the things that I do. Sometimes in the middle of, like, for example, yesterday, did I do PowerPoint until 2? No, I did until 1:30. And for half an hour, I was going to YouTube and listening to some songs. I will, right now the hottest thing is that guy who got jailed 37 years wrongly for murdering someone else. I rerun that video again. I look at his expression. I look at how he engaged people on stage. He didn't do it deliberately. You can see it, but he was so engaging because he was so full of heart. So that's something I learned. It's like, I am I doing that? So all these things will be okay. So coming back to enhance our capabilities and processes and stuff. Right? Look, there is a remember what I'm going to say. There's capability, and then there's capacity. If I have to put it in more layman terms, capability is the ability to do things, right? Capacity is a ability to withstand, take. This is the time that we don't just look at one, we have to look at two. So a lot of us will say, I'm at my bottleneck. I can't breathe. So some people will come and say, why don't you rearrange what's in your plate? Okay, you can rearrange what's in your plate, and then you can move forward again. is only capabilities. Okay, you're still operating based on your capabilities. What should be done now is just enlarge your plate. When you enlarge your plate, you feel uncomfortable. When you feel uncomfortable, means you're growing. So this is the time to just do it. Feel uncomfortable. Talk to people that you don't understand what they're talking about, and show a vulnerability and say, Mr. Sati, I appreciate what you say just now, but I really, in Chinese, I catch no ball. I don't know what you're talking about. Is it okay if you repeat and give me a bit more? That's what I meant by enlarging it. Most of us like to rearrange. After rearranging, you're just you. Nothing changed. Now is the time. Just enlarge it. Okay, that's why in 2003 I just went to Chicago for my first MDRT committee meeting. When I reached there, I realized I was the youngest ever to grace that meeting at 33. Nobody at that time below probably 40 had sat in one of the seats there. So, and everyone was looking at me. It was like, hey, this young boy, what are you doing here? That kind of things. I was so scared. I was trembling when I was speaking to them, but then I just hold my fort and I say, I'm going to grow. That's when I just expanded my plate. Yeah, most of the things they talk about I didn't understand. When they went out for their R&R, I stayed back and studied what they were talking about. Why is MDRT going this direction and not that direction, and deciding on this. And so I still remember going to Vietnam, and I've never done cold calls on my clients, but I went to Vietnam and I cold called the CEOs of Vietnam companies and asked if I can speak to them, because at that time there were 2 MDRT members in Vietnam, and one of my missions at the time was to increase the number of Vietnamese MDRT members. And I cold called the CEO, and I remember walking into one, and he looked at me and he's like, why are you doing this? He couldn't understand. And I was like, yeah, I think I just feel that there's a need to do it. So instead of enhancing capabilities, processes, and stuff like that, those are the how. Think about why you want to do this. Okay, who you be? A lot of us are so focused on what we want to become, we've forgotten that who we will become after we have achieved what we want, what we will become, right, is more important. If you have set it wrong, I can let you become the person you want to be, the what positions and stuff. You don't feel fulfilled. And I just heard this again last week. One of the most miserable failures is when you are successful and you don't feel fulfilled. I experienced it myself, and I can tell you it's rotten feeling. I don't feel fulfilled. I became top here, top there, and it's like that's not what I wanted. Yeah, of course, pocket became deeper. I became more successful. I have more money, but then I don't feel fulfilled. So I have to be true to myself, right? So
and thanks, Stuart. I think this is important for a lot of the younger planners out there, or even business owners, to be very clear, because at this point of time you have an advantage to decide who you want to become, like what you said, rather than waiting until a late stage, then you realize this is not what I want. And it's definitely a painful feeling, like what you said, to be in a position where you have got what you want, but then it's not something that you really feel good about or satisfied about. So thank you so much, Stuart, for sharing so many things with us, your experience, so much knowledge. And I'd like to also thank all our viewers, with all your questions, with all your comments and encouragement. Thank you so much. And Stuart, wish you all the best, and I will definitely look out for your further distances, increase in your distances for your runs, as well as being a COVID-19 situation, I think this year is something going to be, you're going to actually set another standard for all of us to look up for. Another crisis means Stuart achieved something big. So with that, thank you so much, Stuart, for your time, and see you guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.